Hi, Paddy. So thanks for having me today. So Oliver Farrell, and I've just completed the postgrad diploma in innovation through design thinking with through in UCC. So how did I get there? I founded a business probably it's over 20 years ago now, and last summer sold that business. So that's a whistle stop tour of my career, engineering business in the telecoms area. So really came to a crossroads last summer when I sold that business, and had been quite a bit of work in the final few months of it as well. So I had a nice had the nice opportunity of having a little bit of time to look around and see what came next. So through Poddy's excellent marketing, my LinkedIn flashed up a 1 year postgrad dip, and yeah, I took it from there.
Yeah, so 20 years out, some would say a long time, Why did you look at an innovation through design thinking type program, Oliver? And what were your views coming in? Were there fears? Were there concerns coming in?
So no, I actually, in the months before our deal was to be done last year around, we were expecting around March, April time. And I was starting to look at maybe doing some heavy study, and I was looking at something around the HR, maybe the psychology of teams, the psychology of work. And there's some good courses there I saw in UCC, but 3 and 4 year programs. So yeah, luckily maybe our deal didn't close till July, and I had missed the boat for a lot of them. Um, so so the innovation then, it just struck me as a nice piece. It was a 1 year to give me a chance to get to look at something new, um, and to really explore, because I was exploring myself and exploring what my career would be. So I just thought it's something that would open the mind. Spoke with yourself, Paddy, spoke with Fiona before I went on the course, and yeah,
You were convinced.
I was
Yeah.
convinced. Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully that isn't the end either, Albert. And also, you've a postgraduate diploma done now. It can be the launch pad into a master's or even beyond into a PhD. And I know that's something we'll be sitting down talking to you about over the next few weeks. Albert, I was intrigued by your journey during the program, and in particular, I've heard you talk about the role of nearly ego, someone very successful coming into a program, and then all of a sudden, either being or not being willing to open themselves up to the possibilities of not always having the right answer and having the right answer at the right time. Can you tell us a little about that? Because as I say, I'm intrigued by the story I've heard you tell around that in the recent past.
Well, probably, I was actually going to add it almost on the last point. When I did speak with yourself prior to joining the course, I had mentioned that within my work and my 20-year work, we had innovated over the years. We had done some successful innovation, some less successful innovation, and you really hooked me with something where you told me, like, there is a way of increasing the odds, I think is what you said. It wasn't that we'd get it right every time. So that was of huge interest to me going into it, to see where we go. And I think that's connected then to this ego, because when I look at it now from having gone through the course, and in particular gone through the project, what I would see is that some of our failures in previous innovations in the company was that we would have done all the work ourselves. We would have, either myself or within a small team, but we would try and solve the problem ourselves. And there wasn't that, I think, what I've learned in this course, the value and the importance of going out, speaking with the people to whom the problem or the need impacts and affects, and to be grounded in that. But then also, even when you think you have that understanding, and you think you've solved it, you need to put it out there. And I remember a time when I had put a lot of work into a project previously, thought I'd solved something, but I put it out, but I didn't put it. I was almost. I didn't want to be rejected. Yeah, I put so much work into it. I didn't want to see it rejected. Whereas I think in this course, it was. I think it was mentioned. It was. We learned that we needed to put it out, and we were asked to try that, to experiment with that. And I guess in our project, in our semester 2 project, I got a great opportunity to do that, where I was working with a group of peers, and so I had to present both the method, present the project, present what I was thinking, and yeah, I guess you feel a certain amount of pressure. I was presenting myself, my course. Why was I doing this? And so I got an initial buy-in. Then I presented something that I had worked on, and it was rubbished. And I think, had I not been doing this course and I got rubbished like that, I mightn't have bounced back. But the fact that I had been told to go on or the course had instructed us to go and experiment with this, I went with it. And so we got rejected, and we pushed on through the meeting, and I kind of asked, well, what do you think? How would we do it? What's another approach? And within the next half hour, we had a super solution. Yeah, so I think that was.
I really like that.
I lived it and I learned. Yeah, so Thomas, I put my hand in there.
That's right, yeah, and it's a sign of maturity, innovation maturity. Nearly, Oliver, though, the quicker we put ideas out there, the quicker we start to learn. The quicker we start to learn, the more likely we're to be successful. And I really like that story. Oliver, I was a bit surprised because talking to you before you joined the program, listening to you in the early part of the program, I really expected you maybe to go after a project that would have sort of real commercial value, that you'd be really seeking out something that would produce commercial value. And then you picked this other project. Can you tell us a bit about that other project and why you might have picked that?
I suppose over Christmas, we were to prepare for our project and to see where we might go. And I was circling in around an area which was around middle-aged men's health. And it probably came from a couple of conversations I had and observations I had. And
so what was this project about ultimately? What did you produce, Oliver?
So what I produced is, it's a program, a lifestyle program. I call it a lifestyle scaffold. So what it aims to, what I noticed was that the cohort I worked with, they're all middle-aged. The cohort I was researching this with, all middle-aged men, all interested in and active in exercise, and present as if they exercise. But yet when we drill down into it, they're not even meeting the minimum recommended levels of exercise. So it's this concept, we put a name on it, of binge exercising. So there might be a charity cycle on, or a marathon in October, and people will train for that and possibly get themselves very fit. But then they mightn't do anything again for 6 months or even 6 years after that. But in a way, they've built the reputation and they've built the mindset that they are an exerciser. So they've almost assumed that they've booked their way into this healthy lifestyle. But what I know, what from the research into what is recommended, the thing really is that you must do a minimum of so many minutes a week exercising, but you must also add in a little bit of strength exercising. So I presented this to the team, and again, they nearly fought me on it. It was a shoot the messenger job. They didn't want to know how much they had to do, because what actually came out of it was that they were afraid of it. They knew they couldn't do it, or they felt they couldn't do it, and they didn't really want to know what they were supposed to be doing, because they were happy just to have the cool cycling jersey or the t-shirt they got at the 10K, and that gave them the impression that they were exercising. So there were a number of things, and they came back to behavioral theories and motivational theories. And interesting, again, another learning from the course was that I didn't want to touch that. When I started the project first, I thought I was afraid of the behavioral theories. So that was another one where I had to drop my ego and go off and learn a little bit about behavior. But there's a lot of it is behavior. But if you look, sorry, I'm going around the houses now, but the behavior needs to be supported. So you can try and put proper behaviors in place. So maybe when you have the competitive thing, or when you have a group going out to do a race, or you have a marathon in October, that gives you enough structure it's your scaffold, and it keeps you training till that. But then once that event is done or that competition is over, it's gone. The scaffold tears down and immediately it's gone. So what I tried to do was, or what I've designed now, is a scaffold that will be a lifetime one. So it works with a group. So you're tying in that group, you're tying in the target that we'd have an event once a year. You're also targeting in, or you're tying in fun, because the event every year is going to be probably away, so there'll be a trip involved. So I'm trying to pull those motivational, the motivational factors, and tie them into a scaffold which doesn't end in October, which doesn't end this summer after the cycle. It maintains, and we push each other, and so it's a carrot and stick.
Oliver, where is this going to go next in terms of this project? You know, have you achieved what you want to achieve out of it? Is there more to be achieved? Are there other groups that can benefit from what you're advocating?
So there's I guess there's one critical test or evaluation, and that's, I've designed it with my group. My group have all signed up for it. We're all enthusiastic about it. So I think the next big test is to do it, and do it with that group. Now, I've also been able to work with the Skibbereen Leisure Centre and the Cork Sports Partnership.
Oliver, there's probably others listening to this that might also be considering maybe doing a program like the one we delivered through UCC here. What advice would you give to people that are maybe thinking of coming back into education, and also doing maybe a program such as this one?
I think it's what I liked and what I enjoyed about this was that it was quite different from where I was. It allowed me some space to learn. So I was learning something, but I was also exploring myself.
Yeah, and I really like the idea, and I heard you saying it earlier, of nearly, if you're going to come in, letting go, you have to let go of something, you know, in order to accumulate something else. And I think you're a real example of that, being willing to let go to accumulate, you know. And I think that's a really interesting and nice part of your story. Very successful, and yet you came in willing to let go to accumulate, and like all of us, also, you know, trying to put maybe ego somewhat to the side. I think that's really powerful as well, Oliver.
That's where I think I think that's a part of the course I've really liked and has really challenged me. And maybe really liked is the word. I've really liked, and I've really struggled with parts of this, but it has definitely pushed me to think and to reflect, and it's given me some tools in which to do it. Even using the word reflect there, you know, I think there's there's the concept of reflection is not something, I think we all do it, or we think we do it automatically, but the fact that we were taught to do it, or is encouraged to do this reflection, that was a learning even for me. What I found, and say we've parts of the course that maybe I wasn't as enthusiastic about, but I'm still waiting to see. Yeah, I bet you there's a learning in that. And
yeah, and I think that's a really nice point, you know, as well, you know, that this idea of liking and yet struggling. So the thing we like is also the thing we struggle with, and also there's other things that we're struggling with and we're still trying to make sense of. So obviously you're only a week or two, I suppose, having just completed the write-up of your project, and still trying to make sense of that, I think is a powerful story. It's not just learning by rote. It's actually trying to make sense of things, and hopefully that's a journey, but we all can be on, that we're constantly trying to make sense of things. And sometimes it's the things that are most difficult are the things we struggle to make sense of as well. Oliver, I'm conscious of time, and I really want to thank you for the time you've given us today, just to share your insights. And I know, like you said, there's an introspection that goes well beyond, I suppose, the duration of this program, where you're still trying to make sense of part of what we covered. And I'm interested in hearing those stories as they transpired. So thank you so much, Oliver.
No problem, and thank you, Paddy. It's been so interesting, really. Yeah.